Today we're going to make an incredible pan-seared sea bass with a shiitake soy glaze. This dish is overall very simple to make, but it does require a good amount of just prep and organization. That way you can let everything come together quickly. We're going to start with some fish. This is the beautiful Chilean sea bass from Kirkland, Costco. It is really, really good. It is frozen, but it thaws very easily and it never tastes fishy. We're going to serve the fish for this dish on a little bit of bok choy. This is just your store-bought baby bok choy. You don't need the huge kind of white-stemmed bok choy. That's just too big. We're going to cut the bottom part of the stem off like we do for most all vegetables, and then we're just going to cut it in half. It's going to kind of fall apart on you because you cut that bottom part of the stem off, but that's totally fine. As long as you get that nice little cut cross section there, you're perfect. We're going to throw it into any sort of roasting pan. You could throw this on a baking sheet if you want. Just kind of put every other kind of like that so they kind of fit in there perfectly. It's hard to explain it, but you know, half the butts on one side, half the butts on the other side. Covered in a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, and then the secret ingredient to cut through some of that richness from the sea bass is going to be this chili onion sprinkle from Trader Joe's. It'll give a little bit of heat. It'll also cut through that soy sweetness. There's going to be a little honey in it too, so really great. Put that to the side. On to the next step. We're going to cut up some scallions here. Nice kind of cross cuts. Normally I would just cut them the normal horizontal way, but we're going to cut them kind of on a bias here. It makes topping something. They look a little nicer. They stand up. You don't need to do this. This is just a presentation kind of thing, but I've seen a bunch of people do it, and see, I really like that kind of cross-section look right there. Once they're fully cut, we're going to throw them just into a bowl of cold water. This will keep them nice and fresh while we do the rest of our cooking. It'll also kind of relax the flavor so they won't be very overpowering. And then we're going to throw that bok choy into the oven, preheated to 400 degrees, and that should take about 15 minutes. Onto the fish, we're going to pat it nice and dry. I try to find the flattest side of the fish and let that be the first side I cook, which will then be the side I serve facing up. I'm going to brush it with just a little bit of flour to really help it get a good brown. And now we're going to lay it into a preheated pan here, a little bit of just all-purpose oil. You don't need to use olive oil because the smoke point can get kind of high. And we're going to let these cook for about 5 minutes until they're beautiful and golden brown. I'll then pat that top side dry also, keep all that moisture off the fish. It'll help that bottom side when you flip it crisp up nicely also. After about 5 minutes, you can see that they are moving freely here. You don't need to worry about them being stuck, and we will give them a nice flip. You can see they are beautifully golden brown. This is how you should get all your flaky white fish. They just are so much better when you get that nice crust on them. We are now going to let them sit on this other side for about 20 seconds, and I'm going to put them in the oven at that same 400 degrees while that bok choy cooks. Just pay attention to the different sizes. This thin piece was almost immediately ready, so I just pulled it out and put it under some tin foil in a toaster oven on warm setting. And now we're going to make the glaze. This is just shiitake mushrooms, nice and sliced. We're going to let those cook for maybe 2 or 3 minutes until they get a little bit of color and start to shrink up a little bit, releasing their moisture. And then we're going to add in about a 1/4 cup here of soy sauce. We're going to add in a squeeze or 2 of honey, and then a good maybe 1 or 2 ounces here of sesame oil. Forgot what it was called there for a second. And we're just going to let that come together. Let this reduce on low to medium heat for the next 3 to 5 minutes. It'll thicken up beautifully, and that's what we're going to use the glaze. You can get it as thick as you want. You can keep it as loose as you want. You're kind of in control here of how you like to have your glazes. I like them right kind of in the middle. And now we're ready to plate this up. Here's that bok choy. I didn't let it get too burnt and too brown, but you could cook that a little more if you'd like. And we're going to try to make like a little nest here on the plate of it. We're going to try to get a little bit fancy. It doesn't turn out incredible, but I want to kind of have a bed for the fish to sit in. That was the thought process behind this. I think that's okay. And now we're just going to throw that fish on. It's been sitting in the toaster oven just on warm, like 150 degrees. That way, as they came out at different times, because of different sizes, they wouldn't get cold. So I'm going to take the piece that I want that looks the nicest to me, place it right there on top, and now we're going to kind of get those mushrooms. I first started putting them on the fish. I didn't really like how that looked, so then we kind of surrounded the plate with it. It was kind of messy and unthought out at this point. But once you do that, coat it with a little bit of that sauce. You can see it's kind of thinner than a real glaze would be, but it's definitely thicker than soy sauce on its own. And once you do that, top it with those beautiful green onion scallions, and you're ready to go. This is just an absolutely fresh, delicious meal. It's overall pretty healthy. It's definitely a little high in sodium, but this fish from Costco is delicious. It works really well with these fresh veggies and that soy flavor. Miso would also be great. Give this a try. Let me know what you think, and check out this Costco sea bass. It's really good.